Welcome to Podcast of All Podcasts. Enjoy best moments of podcast history.
Sometimes I feel my life is going on in circles. Beneath my eyes the blue is black. There's nothing new, no one I wanna talk to, nothing I wanna think about. I got sold down. I stick my head out of the window when it's closed. Instead of air I get glass stuck into my head. The city's sounding, I can't seem to stop the pounding. Can't keep my thoughts from flying round. Can't keep my thoughts from flying round. Not sure what I'm thinking about. I got sold out. A shameless display, wearing a smile full of pain. A frameless day, a painting without a signature. She's waiting for someone to save her. As I pass her by, I see Cinderella. She doesn't fit into the slipper. Laundry fits in a bottle of liquor. There's no one to take her away. The bottle of liquor. Her eyes meet mine. She sees right through me. The question is, what's gonna do for me? I don't need nothing, just a connection. I gotta know what she's all about, 'cause I know she's been there, sold out. I stick my head out of the window once again. This time I see 1,000 faces all too clear. They wear the same expression I've seen in my face so many times. I know exactly how they feel. I know exactly how they feel. I know just what they think about. They got sold out.
Andrew Santino and Melissa Villasenor.
Weird sexual repressed energy from something in our childhood.
Yeah.
We're weirdos, man.
And I
Humans
mean,
are weirdos.
Yeah, very strange.
What's the one thing when you were young that you were embarrassed to tell everyone that you did, and now that you're older, you don't care at all? You know, like there was something you did as a child that you're like, wow, I used to be so embarrassed if people found out about that. And now I just don't give a fuck at all.
Ooh. Can you give me some examples?
I'll give you one.
Yeah.
I'll give you one to make
Yeah.
you start thinking.
Yeah.
I used to be so embarrassed when I was young that when I would masturbate, you know, I'd put myself in like really awkward positions to masturbate in.
Uh-huh.
Like really weird positions. And I used to be so like scared that someone would find out that I'm a weirdo.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God, what if they found out that I do weird stuff when I masturbate?
Okay.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just like
something as a
weird
kid you're like,
positions.
Oh, this is gonna
Yeah,
be
that I wanted to
weird
position myself in
admit.
weird positions when I masturbated in
Yeah.
different places in the house. And now that I'm older, I'm like, pfft, okay. So what?
Oh man.
Now that I know that people do
Yeah.
much weirder things.
Yeah.
Well, like, and it doesn't have to be anything sexual. I just mean that was one example. But like
Right.
things when you're a kid that you do that you think you're alone on an island, and then you realize no, other people do that stuff.
I guess I would always sing to myself in the mirror in the restroom.
That's kind of yeah. Were you and it was embarrassing to you a little bit?
Well, I never told anyone till now, but I was a little. I mean, I was just like, don't speak. I know just what you say. And then like just stare at them in the mirror a long time, pretending I'm in the music video.
You are Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You've never admitted that?
No.
That when you were
Also-
young, you did it all the time?
And then I would write my own songs and sing them in the restroom. And then, but no one was, it was just me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You still write your own songs?
yeah, I do. It's really cool.
You wrote one this morning, right? You told me?
Yeah, I did.
You want to tell me the one lyric that you said that I thought was profound? Tell me. Say what it was.
It was. Shit.
I think I know. Let me move this.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, hello.
There it is.
Hello.
Yeah. I think what you said was people mistake their dreams with someone else's.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
People mistake their dreams for someone else's.
People mistake their dreams for someone else's.
Sometimes when you really ask yourself, did you want that? And you're like, oh, actually, no.
No. That's wild. Yeah, because you just see what other people have and what they do, and you're like, I guess I'm supposed to like that.
Yeah, because I think about it like, oh, you know, all three of my siblings, one's married, two are engaged. They're going to get married. And I have no desire. And that could change.
Yeah.
But
I was actually going to ask you to marry me right on this show.
oh, poor.
It's fine. It's fine. You already said no, so I get it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be your pity marriage. I don't want to be Melissa's pity marriage. But you have no desire.
No desire for kids. I don't ever have that feeling.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's fine.
That's fine.
Not everyone is supposed to have this, like...
It's all social, you know, media and people saying whatever. It's like, but nah.
It's not for everybody.
Not for everyone.
Nothing
but I
is
do
for
want
everyone.
my person, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is there one person you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's another hard thing.
I don't know.
Because when someone's like...
I've never even been with someone for like years. I don't know what that's like.
But months.
Months.
Yeah. But not years. No. Never over 1 year?
Maybe one over 1 year. Mm-hmm. But truly...
I'm a little offended. You and I dated for 9 months. What happened?
No, that's not true.
That's not true. We never dated. We've always been homies.
Homies.
Home.
Oh, I miss that word, homies.
We're homies, man. We've always been. How long have I known you? I've known you for probably...
Definitely 8 years.
I was going to say 8 to 10 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
When did we first meet?
I was thinking about that the other day when we were talking, when we ran into you at the breakfast spot. I think we first met at the, I want to say...
Is that crazy?
I either want to say at the Westwood Brew Co. Do you remember those shows?
Brew Co, yeah.
Or at the Improv, at the Hollywood Improv. I think it's the Brew Co. Because those shows were so weird. There was so many.
Why did we keep going back to
the
weird
know.
ones?
Because
then we wouldn't get the response or work we needed.
No, I hated it. I hated it. I literally hated every second of it.
I hated it, but next door I loved the karaoke.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's what I went for.
I think that's really why people went over there, was to party. But you would go do the mic or the book show if it was a book show.
Yeah.
And just not get anything out of it. I used to do a show in Santa Monica all the time called the Irish Pub. What was the Irish Pub in Santa Monica on Main Street? Brennan's? Or no, not Brennan's. That's on Lincoln. There used to be a show on the west side in Santa Monica. Matt Knutson used to run it.
Yeah.
What was that fucking bar?
I don't know, but
whatever
I did
it was called,
once.
I used to do it all the time, and I hated it.
I know, but you have to
get through those moments.
So weird. We just had to do so many.
You have to get through the shit to get to where you are today.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking, when you're performing, you know, like in Tempe, you've come so far that now the comfort level is so high that when the lights go out,
yeah,
you're still good.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that happened at fucking Westwood Brew Co?
I would start crying and
panic
run.
Jump out the window. Melissa, no. Land on a car. Is she dead? Good God, why would she do that? But the vulnerability was so much higher when you were young. And now that we're older, older in age and in the comedy business, it's just so different.
Yeah, but I wish I have... I mean, I guess my stand-up's different. Sometimes I feel like I beat myself up, like, you know, I'm on stage on Sunday and I'm like, because there are bits from 7 years ago, Melissa, you shouldn't be doing them anymore. But it's like...
Says who?
I don't know. I think it's probably seeing so many comics pump out specials within every year, and it's just like... But then look at the show I'm on. Like, maybe it's just okay. Whatever,
it's all okay.
Man.
It's all okay.
There's no rules. There's no fucking rules.
There's no rules. You keep making them up as you go. You keep making up your own schedule as we go.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that we're supposed to adhere to something.
Never.
I don't like the idea that And we talked about this. I said the reason that like acting for me is always all over the place is because it's so vulnerable. You don't know what the product is going to be. With comedy, you're physically making the product, you're creating it, you're delivering it. Nobody can misrepresent your delivery of that material.
I know.
Right? They can receive it how they want to receive it. Mm-hmm. But you're the one that gets to be the last will and testament on how it gets pushed out.
Yeah.
I think that's wild, you know? What's your favorite joke that you're doing right now?
Okay.
You don't have to say it if you don't want to.
No,
but I'm just curious. Like, what's the most fun thing you're talking about right now?
The most fun are always the newer bits.
What's a brand new bit?
Okay, last night I tried this on. I don't know if it's gonna even.
I like your smile on your face already.
It just makes me happy because I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I don't get asked out on dates, and that's because it's on me.
What do you mean?
Okay,
yeah,
hold up.
Yeah,
it's because it's. Or I mean, I didn't mean to tell you to hold up.
No, I like it.
Sometimes I think that's my comedic rhythm now on
I'm
stage.
bossy.
No, I'm not bossy.
I'm the first one to spit on a track. All right, so no, you don't get asked out.
Because look at my schedule. First of all, dating's not hard. It's just because I'm not getting out there. Period. That's it. I go, I work, I sleep, I hang out with Penny, my dog, and then I'm exhausted to even think of going to hang out at a social place. So what if I just Mary Poppins it? You know, like line up some guys outside the door like the nannies and Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And then I sang. You remember how Jane and Michael Banks have that song? They sing their dad like the Perfect Nanny song. They go,
if you want this choice position, very sweet and very pretty.
Right.
Rosy cheeks.
so I changed the lyrics to like what I want my man to be, the perfect man.
The perfect man.
Like, be like funny. Don't try too hard, cause I can't fake laugh anymore. Something like
I can't fake a laugh.
Yeah, just
I
all like the
can't
real
fake
things.
it.
Like I can't stand anymore. I
Have
can't.
some money, have a job, have some friends, don't be a slob.
Exactly. Hey, can I help? Can you help me write that?
Yeah.
That's really So
It's just simple beats of how they should just get their shit together.
Then maybe at the end it's like, man, this is really creepy because that's a creepy singing voice.
Yeah, but that's really funny.
It's like a horror movie.
And the last line should be, and also very hot. That should be the last line.
And taller than me.
And must be taller
and they
than
end
me.
it with the sincerely
Jane and Michael
Cool. Banks.
done. So maybe I had to do I don't know something. But yeah.
Melissa,
do you think that can be
your yeah.
Do you think that could be a good
totally.
bit?
Yeah, it's a great bit.
Just line them up because I don't want to leave my house. That's the whole
just
point.
show up on the front doorstep like they do. Line up. It's kind of like that's your version of what's that fucking show? Like The Bachelorette. You know, you're like you don't get to come in the house. Just introduce yourself, and I'm just gonna pick from the fucking people that show up.
But who am I singing that song to?
America. America gets to hear that. We'll broadcast it live.
Yeah, so that one kind of makes me excited just because I love that little kid voice.
Isn't that so nice that when we find new bits that make us smile, that's what feels the best.
That's the goal. Every time. I know for a fact, if it kills me, it's gold. That's it.
There's jokes that comedians write for comics, and there's jokes that comics write for audiences, and sometimes they go both ways. But there's something so fun about something that's like just for you a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Even if they don't really like get it or love it that much, you're like, this is really for me.
Yeah.
This is so specific and probably very specific to like my old neighborhood, but. Anytime I love breakfast. Breakfast is my favorite meal.
Me too.
It's my favorite meal.
Oh.
And anytime I go to a breakfast place, when I order like an egg dish, 9 times out of 10, at least here in Southern California, it's always a Mexican dude, and he always asks you as your side, do you want fruit or potatoes? That's what they always say. But there's this rhythm this guy used to have by me, and he'd go, fruit or potatoes?
Ooh.
And I love fruit or potatoes, fruit or potatoes, fruit or potatoes, fruit or potatoes. It would just I thought I would break out in salsa when he would do it.
Yeah.
And he would laugh at me because his rhythm, his voice was in rhythm.
It's beautiful.
He had such rhythm to the way, like, you would put in your order, he'd go, 2 egg sandwiches, 2 iced coffee, fruit or potatoes. It was like this.
Duncan Trussell with Daniele Bolelli.
And on the highest point that they can get to. So from getting on top of a very high mountain. You can look and see the expanse of things, draw maps based on that, but you can't get into space and see it. Similarly, we're glued to time because we haven't figured out a way to elevate ourselves from the time-space continuum yet. And so our experience of time in history itself is based on the notion of one time stream that we're on, when the reality is that every single one of us is constantly moving through multi-realities. We're moving through various time streams that are all mostly identical to the one that we're in the same way that if you were a person living, I don't know, in North America, your ability to travel from North America to Hawaii, for example, and see a completely different ecosystem would be limited by your ability to get on a boat.
Yes.
So in the same way, because we can't really move out of the temporal ecosystem that we're in, we think that time looks like this. We're in a post-industrial technological civilization, constantly teetering on world war and stuff. But if you had some extra help via technology, some sort of like magical ability or the ability to control your dreams, etc., you could theoretically actually shift timelines all the way to a point where we're currently existing in kind of a Buddha field techno-utopia.
A Buddha field techno-utopia. Okay, I like that already. So, do tell. Evidence. What do they base it on? I hate to be the guy who says that, but...
Well, can we, for the sake of this, just push evidence off the table? Because if we start going to evidence... we have to go to in this particular time field, time stream, time-space continuum... The evidence is that there is no other... This is it, baby. Okay. We're here.
Right.
I mean, just forget it. We have no quantifiable measurements. Now, you can look into quantum physics. You can look into, the reality that if you investigate anything at a deep enough level, it vanishes, to see there seems to be a permeability to reality itself. And then, of course, there's the people who say the Berenstein Bears... I remember it is.
Okay. So it's exactly what I was reading last night.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, that's weird and odd. Yeah, that is we live in the Matrix, right? Yeah. Never heard ever before. Read it last night, and here you are telling me about it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Weird.
Well, it's not too weird because you brought it up. I was talking about multiple histories, and you brought the Mandela effect.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, weird in the sense that, what you're talking about is so intimately related to this that it's
that's right.
There's
a connection there. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so do tell me more about this.
No, you tell me, because I'm interested in your understanding of history is so much greater than anyone I know who isn't in academics.
Sure.
Academia. So in your understanding of history, are there any iterations of this concept that the reality as we know it, history as we know it, is not actual history, but that in fact we're living in some kind of confined reality tunnel shared by a certain group of people? We're on the outskirts of that. There are all these other realities that are happening simultaneously.
If you get some historians really high on LSD, you may get there. You could, that's worth a shot. No, generally speaking, I mean, the most, and even that's considered way out there, but the most that's kind of within the range of something vaguely similar, and I use the word vaguely intentionally because it's not even that similar, but if you talk about some Graham Hancock kind of idea about, our timeline of history is completely fucked up.
Yeah.
It's, his idea about younger Dryas, comet impact. There was way more advanced civilizations before this time that got wiped out. And so our scale of history is really limited and reduced. But even that, almost a square theory compared to what you're telling me. Because that's still assuming a linear timeline, a single reality. We just don't happen to know about something that happened long ago. What you are saying is there is no single reality. There's multiple timelines, multiple universes touching each other. That's a whole other, that takes it 25 steps further. And already, you take Graham, which I like Graham, by the way. I think Graham makes very interesting points. He definitely raises some good questions. And even he's considered when I had Graham on, you had Graham on the podcast. I had Graham on a couple of times on Drunken Taoist, and I get the hardcore guys who are like, what are you meddling with this pseudo-historian crap? And I'm like, dude, the guy actually asks good questions. Does that mean every single thing he's saying is correct? He probably doesn't even believe that, but he's making good points. He's like, so the standard view of history is so square that Graham is way out there. What you're telling me is like make Graham look like the most square human in the universe, So that's the scale.
Okay. Then help me understand this.
Yeah.
When you begin to study history, is the study of history mixed in with the study of time?
No.
So historians aren't even interested in time as we understand it, or physics or anything like that.
No. I mean, and that's the problem with most disciplines. That's one of the things that I've always disliked about, not even academia, but our way of approaching knowledge. That it's based on specializing to the point where not only you have no connection between history and physics, let's say, or history and any other field, any field with each other, they basically are foreigners. But even within the same field, it's like, what? You're a historian? Well, what does that mean? I'm a historian of 1727 Paris. That's what I'm a historian of. And you're like, holy. Like, I remember...
That's so cool, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's cool and it's not. It's cool because you end up knowing every single thing that happened down to what was going on that street corner between 5 p.m. and 5:15 on that day. But at the same time...
How do you know that? Is that real? That's hyperbole?
Totally. It is. Well, I think that we have established that about every other word that comes out of my mouth is hyperbole, so we're good with that.
Oh, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry if that seemed like a neg. I wanted that to be true.
I would like it too, and I think that's why I like to run with this stuff. But no, I love hyperbole. No, I think what it is knowledge is divided in this tiny subsect that even the guy, I was talking with a lady who was a specialist in Japanese history, right? He's like, it's already limited, right? You take one country out of all of the world. I mentioned a huge thing that happened in the 1400s in Japan. And she was like, what? And I'm like, well, it's kind of important. And she's like, oh, no, I only studied Japan from like the 1850s forward. And I'm like, so you're not even a historian of Japan. You're a historian of like 1 century and a half of Japan.
Right.
That's it. That's all. And that's my feeling with most of knowledge, that the effort to cross boundaries is next to non-existent.
Okay.
Definitely in academia, but even outside sometimes.
From your own personal subjective experience, where do you think history exists outside of the human mind and outside of whatever material it's recorded on?
Well, I mean, and that's when you say whatever material is recorded on, that's the problem with the field itself. That there's no great book of history that you open and tells you everything that happened exactly as it happened, right? You're only as good as the sources you have. And most of human history we know nothing about. Right? Maybe you find one tooth of a guy who lived 30,000 years ago and you go like, what an amazing discovery. It's one tooth of one guy. Come on, It's like... So most of human history, we have no evidence. The ones that we do know about is usually one guy who wasn't really there, but 60 years later write about it because his great uncle told him that his retarded neighbor was there one day, but actually wasn't really his retarded neighbor. It was actually the sister of his neighbor who told, it's hearsay. So there's monstrous, like when all you have is like 3 paragraphs in a guy writing 60 years later on a third-hand account, reliability is a little thin, to say the least.
Yeah.
So then the stuff that we do know more about, even when you do have an eyewitness who was there, who said, I saw it, there's the question of reliability to that person. So the moral of the story is a lot of history, there's a ton of guesswork involved. There's, what we say it as fact is maybe, possibly, likely, I hope, fact. And when you start digging down, you have to really separate what do we actually know about this, which is usually something that can be written in 3 paragraphs, and what we think that means, and how we connect the dots, which were then how you end up with a book.
Okay, gotcha. So, we know someone built the Eiffel Tower.
Yep.
And we probably know who built the Eiffel Tower. And we probably know why they built the Eiffel Tower. And then from that person, we can kind of figure out who did build the Eiffel Tower.
No, Mr. Eiffel.
Yeah, Frank Eiffel. But the sum total, like, what's interesting to me is most of us are walking around with the idea of, like, I understand the history of the world.
Yep.
I understand how we got where we're at right now. But when you look into it, you realize, like, not only do you have a very foggy understanding of, for example, how California came to be, who lived in California before California was California, what California was called before it was called California.
Yep.
You have a foggy memory of what the fuck you were doing in the 3rd grade.
Exactly.
What you were doing in the 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. You don't know what you were doing June 15th, 1987.
Right.
And so then as I say, as above, so below, the human psyche is not equipped to remember things accurately.
Of course.
And from that, you could probably extrapolate, then if the sum total of all human psyches is what contains within it our understanding of history, then our understanding of history is completely distorted.
Yeah, because it goes through a filter, right? There's no, in that sense, it's almost a philosophical question about the existence of objective reality out there versus what you know that's inevitably filtered through your own subjectivity, which clearly raises question about how much of that is really objective and how much the filter is making up as you go.
Yeah. So this produces all of the wars and all of the catastrophes and all of the human conflict, because everyone's walking around with a distorted conceptualization of what happened.
Right.
No one even fucking knows. There might be some epigenetic record inside of us, but the reality is it's all distorted. So I'm an American, you're an Iranian. Over there we've got the Syrian and the Russian, God forbid. And we have all these people wandering around. They have some in their mind, some sense of, like, I'm an American.
Yeah.
I'm an Iranian. I'm a Russian. But really, those people, they don't know what that even fucking means.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything.
Well, even genetically, it doesn't really mean anything, because when you look at it, it's like, unless you live in some weird corner of the world that has been isolated, which there are not that many by now, like, I remember when I first started getting into Italian history, because I was like, I read everything else, I might as well learn the history of where I'm from, right? And so, like, at one point I read about the one city where I'm from, and they say, oh, like 2,500 years ago was founded by the Celts. And I'm like, oh, cool, so there's a Celtic origin. I turn the page and it's like, yeah, but 20 years later, this other tribe came in and killed them all. He's like, oh, okay, so not that guy, this guy here. Yeah, but 30 years later, and then you go over 2,000 years, and you realize that everybody...
Joe Rogan with Tom Segura.
Would use loose with their dialogue.
I can imagine a staff person, like, at a club like that, and then they go over to Applebee's, and people are probably like, yo, what is up with you and all your cum jokes? We're trying to serve the fucking Jack Daniel's steak and shrimp. Fucking tone it down.
Some of my favorite people.
Yeah, they're
work
great.
at comedy clubs.
Yeah, they're great, man. It's a special breed.
That's another thing that we need to realize as comedians. It's like a very important thing that I try to tell as many young guys as possible. Everybody always wants to think that there's some sort of an adversarial relationship between you and the comedy club, especially in the beginning. Guys are like, oh, they're not paying me enough money, or they don't give me good weekends, or this and that and that and this. There's always going to be person-to-person conflicts, but here's what's important. If comedy clubs weren't around, we'd be fucked. Exactly. So we need people to run comedy clubs. Yeah. And guess who's not going to run comedy clubs?
Yeah.
Us.
Right.
Okay? We need those fucking people. Those, They're very important, and they're not us. They're different. So imagine being a non-comedian working with a bunch of fucking nutty comedians all the time with all their crazy problems and their addictions and their excuses and showing up late or
divas and
doing
shit,
heroin on stage, you know, whatever the fuck they do.
Where my shoes at?
Yeah. Craziness. We've all seen people's riders, you know, where they have a fresh pair of shoes backstage for them. I've seen riders where dudes had a fresh pair of sneakers. Can you imagine if you had to deal with this shit? I gotta give this guy fucking sneakers. He's gonna have his size 11 Jordans in the box right there, waiting before he goes on stage. He slips them on right before he goes up. That's his ritual. Green M&Ms, you fuck. Only green.
Asians, you know, They're always doing
It's
something.
always the Asians,
Yep.
right? Yeah. I was going to say Pakistani, but I guess that's Asia.
That is Asia. That's true. I did
Make up a race.
a club where they had a PlayStation, and when I was like, "That's the shit." Thanks, dude. And they're like, "We got it for fucking asshole who made us buy one, so he would do his shows. So enjoy. Let it go out and buy a fucking PlayStation."
Yeah, see, man, if you were a regular person just trying to run a little business, maybe it'll be a fun business. I'm in the restaurant bar business. Maybe I'd like to run a comedy club.
Yeah, it'd be fun, right?
And then Joey Diaz is calling you from Vegas. Listen, dog, you got to wire this money. You got to wire this money. We got no show, cocksucker. Like, Joey in his crazy days.
Oh, man.
You know, I mean, anybody. I mean, think of the comedy nightmare stories that we've heard about comedians doing stupid shit to a club or to a club owner.
Dude, I remember. Yeah, I know. Like I remember I did a club years ago. I get to the condo. I'm like, "How's the condo looking?" And they're like, "Well, the guy that just left, he shaved his pubes in the sink." And I'm like, "Dude, I wish you would not have told me that." And then so and so left a piece of salmon under the bed, so the whole place would smell like fish. And fucker,
Brendan Walsh. People do shit like that, man. And here's the other thing they do. When people get out of the clubs, there's a thing that they do when they like go to theaters. They almost like despise clubs then. I would never go back and work the club. I work the theater.
Yeah.
Like they have this like weird image thing.
Yeah.
What's that? Why would you be ashamed of clubs?
That's all ego.
That's so
all
stupid.
ego. Yeah. And the whole thing is like for 90%, maybe more, if you do make the leap from clubs to theaters, you're still going to go back to club. Like your draw, almost everyone's draw dips again.
Well, Louis C.K. has one coming out that he did at the Comedy Store, and that's one of the things that he talked about. He's like, because he does arenas now. I mean, he does like Madison Square Garden.
Huge.
It's like 14,000 people, right? So he does that. He does theaters.
Yeah.
Anywhere between like 1,000 and whatever.
Yeah.
And then he also does the clubs, which is everything we would consider like, I think a club's like everything below 500.
Yeah.
Like even like that place in Phoenix, that's kind of like a comedy club / theater.
Yeah, which is a great room, by the way. That's my favorite. I think that's my favorite
big room
in the country. I like that one a lot.
It's pretty goddamn good.
San Jose, that's not can't even be considered a comedy club, can it? Like
it's a reform. It's a
theater.
It's an old theater. It doesn't have quite. It's over 4, but so you could technically be like it's a club, but it doesn't have the layout of a club. It looks like actually like a beautiful historic theater. Yeah.
Yeah, that place is amazing. That's a beautiful theater.
I just did West Palm. I did one night there last week, and
it's giant.
Giant.
700 people.
They have TVs halfway through, so like halfway through, if you're too far away, you can just look at a TV like a UFC.
And I did Irvine last month. I did a night there.
That's a giant one. I'm doing that in June. I'm doing a weekend there in June. That place is enormous, man.
But that is probably the best run comedy club. Like that's got home base. Yeah, they know their shit.
The improvs know their shit. You know what else too? There's like a lot of comedy fans out there because they've cultivated that over years and years.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to get into town. Yeah. Getting into town sucks a fat dick if you live in Irvine.
Yeah.
Irvine's fucking far.
Yeah.
Like that might as well be San Diego. It might as well be. The difference between getting to Irvine and San Diego is just leaving the house a little earlier. And,
sure, it's far, yeah.
If you leave the house at 3 and try to get to Irvine, it's like leaving the house at 2 and trying to get to San Diego. You get there at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, you really will.
It's hours.
Oh my God, it's death.
Yeah.
If you miss that traffic, it's crazy.
Yeah.
If you miss it, you just like I'm here an hour and a half early.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's crazy.
You can miss it, but I don't know what that time is. There's like an 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock window of opportunity.
When I was emceeing, I would and I had an Irvine weekend. I would leave at like fucking 1 in the afternoon, and I just hang out. Yeah, just hang out.
Hey, why not, man?
Yeah.
Do some work. Get your notebook out. Go over some jokes.
Yeah.
Better than freaking out in traffic at 5:45. Stop dead. Going, how long is this gonna last? What if this is another hour? It's a fucking 7 o'clock show.
I only missed my set one time in my whole entire career, and it was emceeing Ontario years ago when it rained. So it rained, so everything gets backed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like traffic gets worse. And I left L.A., Hollywood at it was like a 8 o'clock show, and I left at 6 to go to Ontario. I got when I ran in, the feature was like, "All right, thanks everybody." I was like, "Shit," missed my set completely.
Whoa!
Just I mean, this town teaches you to leave way earlier than you should.
What is it going to be like in 10 years?
When there's even more people?
Yeah, they're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Unless there's some sort of a natural disaster, LA is going to continue to grow. Unless there's one of them, the rock earthquakes, like this movie he's got coming out.
Oh yeah, San Andreas, right?
It'll take some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then everybody's just going to overrun Colorado. Then everybody's just going to move to Colorado.
People have like, they propose that like nothing would be better for Earth than like a significant wipeout of a certain percentage of the population, right? Like for everything. I mean,
that's very short-sighted on Earth's point.
Yeah.
Because I would say, Earth, listen, we're the only ones, out of all the shit that you got growing, the only ones that might be able to figure out how to divert a fucking asteroid. So, watch your mouth, bitch.
Yeah, talk
okay?
some shit.
Because you
want
us out there fucking and making computers.
Yeah.
We throw some shit in the ocean. We'll figure that out in a couple of generations. But what we're doing is we're paying attention to the fact there's rocks above you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch. Earth. You fucking whining bitch.
Human beings. Worried about a natural disaster be the best thing to happen to Earth. Yeah, how much of a natural disaster? Fuckhead. Because you got hit by, you forgot about this, you got hit by a planet once.
Yeah.
Earth got hit by a goddamn planet at one point in time.
How long ago?
Before your time.
Like 100 years ago?
It's like
1890?
72.
Oh.
Before slavery was abolished.
Oh, okay.
God was trying to wipe out slavery with the Earth, with another planet.
Another planet came?
I think it was like 1 billion years into Earth's life cycle.
Yeah. That was a while back.
Imagine, though, if you saw a planet in the sky and it was slowly coming towards us, and astronomers like, we've got a rogue planet. There's a rogue planet headed our way.
Yeah.
And we have 2 years to do with this. Oh, by the way, we lied about going to the moon. We've never actually really landed anywhere other than Earth. Sorry.
And then as the planet gets closer, people are like, where's it going to hit? And they keep like changing like where they think it's going to hit, and then it lands, and then they're like, it's going to be North Korea. Everyone's like, all right, cool.
It's going to hit so hard that even if you do leave now in a spaceship, the aftershocks of the impact will blow your spaceship apart in space. So it's pointless to leave. Just every day. Murder, chaos, machetes, gunfire,
billionaires
fucking.
would all still be gone, though.
Dance parties.
They would still be in their rockets. Like, fuck it. I'm going to do it anyways.
Do you think they would try?
I think so, yeah.
I think we could reinforce the outside and beat the shockwaves. I've done my own calculations, Roger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe one guy just thinks it'd be cute to get that guy up in space.
Paul Allen would be up there.
You think so?
Yeah, watching from above. You guys are fucked. I can see
it
coming.
You don't want to be that guy, though, man. You don't want to be alone in space with $1 billion.
No, that sounds so fucking... That's so depressing to think about.
I would way rather die.
Yeah.
Way rather.
With the rest of us?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to live in space in some tiny community that, is trying to suck water out of rocks on Mars.
No, that sounds horrible.
It's so stupid. Like this, you know how long people have worked to turn Earth into what you can enjoy right now?
Yeah.
Like, this has been a long process to get to 2015. And you're just gonna bypass all that and shoot yourself off into space like an asshole?
Somebody would. They would. Somebody would.
We would have to be like thousands of years more advanced than we are now, to the point where we could like change the atmosphere of a planet. Like we could land on Mars and do something. Like, what is that? There's a scientific term for when they reintroduce oxygen to an atmosphere of a planet. I forget what it is, but they've developed machines that they could theoretically pull
photogenesis.
No, that's...
No, I know. I'm just an asshole.
I think that's just when you're good looking. But whatever that term is, they eventually want to do that to like Mars. They eventually want to fly there, set up these gigantic...
Bert Kreischer with Dane Cook.
Actually where we kind of broke bread for the first time. Do you remember that first place that we sat down and had a conversation?
Yeah. I think it was right out. Was it?
It was in Times Square.
Was it right after you did your half hour your presents?
Was it a little sooner? I'm not sure. I'm terrible with time. I've always been
yeah.
We sat at the Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge. Okay, here's how you know Bert and I are older. It wasn't even Hojo's, which was the later cool nickname for Howard Johnson's after they were already at their peak. We were at Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge in Times Square.
Yeah.
Eating breakfast for dinner and talking shit, man. Talking about like what we wanted to do out of New York City.
I went to your taping for your 30-minute special.
Yeah.
And I remember I like it's interesting because
there's the ups and the valleys of like criticism you've gotten from our peers, mostly
I haven't heard
comics.
What
I'll walk you through it. But like it's so funny. And then I remember the day. No, I don't want to do a This Is Your Life with you, but I remember the day you were in USA Today. My dad texted me and he was like, Bert, Dane Cook is the #1 selling comedian ever in the history. And I was like, what? He goes, pick up USA Today. And I called you and I was like, dude, congratulations. And you were like, and you just thank you.
Yeah.
And like nothing more than that. Thank you. And I remember Jay Moore telling me you got to see Dane do stand up. At the time, you were on fucking fire. It was like everything that came out of your mouth was genius. And I remember being like, you were going on stage, and I remember bringing friends to come see you, going, I hope he does this bit.
Right.
I hope he does this bit.
Yeah.
But you see the ups and the valleys, and I've always said this to everyone, dude, you'll never hear a bad word come out. I mean, I'll be critical of my friends always, but like in life, but like you'll never hear me say a bad word about you because, dude, you've made me laugh harder than any one individual. I remember kind of jokes you told that I think about all the time. Do you remember one time Brian Volkowitz had an idea about coin-operated gyms?
Do you remember that?
And you were like, you ever have an idea so fucking stupid you want to kill them? And he goes, I got an idea. But like it's so funny about and it's been fun to watch. And I remember and then we'll start talking. But running into it, you'd lost both your parents. Gone through a bunch of drama, and I was like, hey, how you doing? And you were like, good. And it was like the first time in a while where you were like super grounded. I go, dude, you seem super grounded. You were like, have the year I had, and you turn up being pretty grounded.
Yeah, man. That was, it's funny because just kind of going back to the first part of that was like when people talk about the peaks and valleys of a career, or my career in particular. The one part I always like to really make sure I remind people of is it started in a valley.
And by the way, also to note, your valleys are 10 times higher than all of our peaks.
Well, I don't know about that.
My peak hasn't been on a private jet yet. Your valleys have been in private jets. So like your valleys, like to say that your peaks and valleys, your peaks are unmatched by any comic in this business.
The valley was maybe like the 15 years leading up to anything happening, right? So that's
15 before. What do you consider your big break?
Got it. I think that it started to really turn in like 2003. That's really when I started to feel like it was turning into something bigger and more exciting. The pipe dream was becoming the pipe reality. Yeah. So up until then, for me, growing up in the situation I did with the income and all that, it was like any gigs were leading me to a better life, and not a life of fear in being scared anymore like I was when I was younger. So no matter how high up and exciting, and we could talk about those things got, when they would come down like a career does, it ebbs and flows, it was like, I'm never going back to Arlington to fucking welfare. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. So I know what a career is, and a career is it crests, and then it takes a dip, and then you got to reinvent, and you got to grow, you got to rebrand, you have to grow with your fans. They're going to tap out, and they're going to maybe tap in, then you have a second chance to make them go, oh shit, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe I was wrong. I'm still, and so I kind of saw that early on in those conversations with you. I remember already having the wherewithal to be like, You gotta go through the spanking machine, man. This is a brutal career. Yeah. People don't know, man, what we sacrificed to get here. And I remember those conversations about the Rolling Stone article and all the stuff that we talked about that was happening with you a few years behind me. I said, all that stuff's going to be part of what we are eventually, part of what we are today.
You were the guy everyone looked at as first guy out the boat, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. All of us looked at you as first guy out the boat. We're all storming Normandy. If there's one guy we want to go out the boat first, it's that guy. Yeah. Because in our heads, all of us were like, if it doesn't happen for Dane, it's not happening for anybody. Mm-hmm. You are. I mean, I say you were because I think of ourselves as young. Yeah. But
I do the same thing. It's like I'm the best I've ever been now, but I can still look and go, man, I was rocking and rolling in 1998.
But your catalog doesn't get old. Like when I listen to myself,
like on that special, I go, ooh. I listened to your shit, and I fucking played it for my daughters the other day, and they're pissing themselves. Mitch Hedberg, pissing themselves. Dave Attell, pissing themselves.
Yeah.
And I look at my old stuff, and it's basically me doing an imitation of you. You know what cops hate? You know what cops hate? Yeah. Listen, it was like, it really is. It's an imitation of you and Attell. Is how there were so many of us that did that.
Yeah. I it's funny because from where I was sitting, I thought, if I'm going to be very candid about it, like, there's no like pecking order of who's next to break. It's an impossible kind of wheel that spins. But I felt like, weirdly, maybe my own insecurity, but when I broke, I felt like there was other guys that should have broken before me, that I was almost like I had hopped ahead of people. And so honestly, it's like I remember going through a stage back then feeling like, I wonder if people don't like that I made it when I did, because what comes with that is a lot of other people being questioned about, why aren't you doing that like that guy? Yeah. So it was a strange kind of yin and yang, because I was happy that I was succeeding, but weirdly I was like, oh, I don't feel like I deserve it any more than some of these other guys that have been, rocking since I saw them in New York City. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
That's why I loved seeing guys, again, like I know you were in the graduating class behind me, but I love seeing all of you guys using every, element of this to get the word out. This is all I did. I was just doing the same thing, but with the first version.
Did you ever lay in bed and go, like, I mean, I already know your answer, but like, please tell me a different answer. Did you ever lay in bed and go, is anyone going to acknowledge that I created this blueprint of how we're doing it these days? I know you're going to say no, but like, did you ever go like, no, I get it.
Not
hey,
then.
Get an online presence. Great idea. Wonder where you came up with that. Were you the guy fucking spending $250,000 on the fucking website?
I did years later. Years later, after it was like I was starting to see some other people get some props, I do remember laying there being like, oh wow, I set the template for this.
Yeah.
The thing that I was being hammered by the guys like David Cross calling me a panderer and like low level, the way I was meet and greeting with fans online, like I was like, no, that's the enterprise now of what we do. This is a full-time 24-hour job. It used to be 2 hours at night, wake up, get your face ready, do your jokes, and then skulk. This is a full-time job, and I treated it like a full-time job even back then.
How did you get the idea? What was the impetus of the idea of getting onto MySpace and social media the way you did? Like, where did the seed start where you're like, I need a fucking website?
Right. I think the seed started with, well, first of all, I was a gamer. I was a big,
dude, I'm telling you, man, people shit on kids on video games.
Yeah.
But you and Rogan are my two guys that I know that are big gamers.
Yeah.
And
I used to play Quake 3 with Joe.
Yeah.
Way back.
That guy was putting an extra $25,000 into technology going into his house so he could have a faster fucking speed time.
That's right.
And Joe, Stanhope, and you were all big proponents of they were blogs at the time, and you were all social media. They were all social media.
Right.
But gaming seems to be the common thread.
Well, gaming was the first thing that I realized, this is like a community online of people from all over the place. I'm playing with a kid in Tampa. I'm playing with somebody else in Montana. I was looking at that like, okay, so I started talking about my comedy while I was, gaming with these people. Not talking with the mic like today.
Yeah.
Like typing in the bottom corner like, I'm a comedian. Yeah, I'm coming to Tampa if you want to see my show. So when I saw the kickback from that, I started looking at websites. I found a website that the U.S. Army and Lenny Kravitz both had really dynamic websites.
There's folklore stories of you that go around comedy. $25,000.
I take my head off.
I got two folklore stories. I'll tell you.
What's the first folklore?
The first one's the 25. Dane Cook paid $25,000 for his first website.
$35,000. I had $40,000 to my name.
Really?
100% honest. Barry tried to talk me out of it. He said, "Why do you need this, buddy? What is this?" My first manager. I said, "This is it. This is the wave of the future, man." I knew. I was a big geek. I was into tech, and I knew with the video game stuff. So what did I do? I parlayed that into not only the DaneCook.com website, but MySpace and Kazaa, LimeWire, Napster, any place that people were being communicative and collaborative online. I spent all day, every day, for years and years, writing everybody back, posting links.
Napster
was
the thing that really fucking gave you a huge bump. Because when I went on there for the first time, by the way, I went on probably 2001 is the first time I ever even heard of Napster. And it was only because of you. I went on. I didn't understand how to get the music off on the mic.
Chris Hardwick with Jim Norton.
Try to perform here because it's not, you know, like someone from the inside was like, it's not, you can't get in. And then recently I went back to New York. I was like, oh, I could probably get up at the Comedy Cellar now. And even my manager was like, yeah, I don't think I can get you in there. It's like a pretty walled off garden.
Well,
there.
do you, I mean, does Esty know you?
No, I don't think so.
Esty is the one who books the Comedy Cellar, and she's been there for years and years.
I don't know her.
But I'll introduce you to her. She's actually nice. People are scared of her because she's Israeli and she's very aggressive and she sounds harsh, but she's really a sweetheart. And I'm sure that they would put you on. I mean, or
what do you think it is about that club that has that specific, like that one place just sort of feels like every other place is, you could, you know, but this place is super sacred.
It's an amazing testing ground for everything because it's McDougal Street in the Village, and you get walk-in business like no other club in the country, I'm sure.
Right.
And it's everybody. It's black and it's white and it's foreign and it's American and it's German. There's such a mix there that it's like if your stuff works. I figure if it gets a 5 there, it's going to get an 8.5 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I test everything in the cellar. And it's a brutally honest room. Like, you know, I've seen, you know, Robin Williams will go on or Chappelle or any of these guys, and they always, like, as celebrities, get respect. But after 5 minutes, I mean, those guys will start tanking too if they're not doing good stuff. Like,
right.
You know, or if they're just working out. I've seen Damon go on there and bomb for 45 minutes, and I love him because he doesn't give a shit. He's working on material. The cellar's a very, very honest room. It's distracting. You know, you're on stage, and literally the door is probably 20 feet in front of you, and the audience is a little bit in front of you, and then off to the right and left, and there's always people walking through to the bathroom. So it trains you to deal with distraction. Like, there's no better club to work out in for when you go on the road, because nothing on the road is as distracting as that room at times can be.
Yeah. Is there a worst story in your head of like, oh, fuck, someone just like had a real rough...
Oh, I mean, we've all bombed horribly. I mean, I love that room, but we've all died terrible deaths there. I mean, I can't think of anyone because there's nobody I know who I haven't seen bomb there. I mean, nobody. The only time, years ago, I think it was 98, actually, I was on stage, and there was a huge fight broke out upstairs. There were some Samoan guys fighting, and I remember emceeing the fight from downstairs. But they couldn't hear me, just the audience could. But that was the only really, truly uncomfortable moment I had because these guys had been thrown out of the cellar, and they were really big, frightening guys, and then they were throwing tables upstairs. But that's the only real weird memory. Other than that, it's just... you know, bombing like everywhere else.
Do you think the more famous a comic gets, the more afraid of bombing they become?
I depend. Some guys, sure. Like Chris Rock will go in and do, like, he'll read a piece of paper and and he's very funny because he'll open up, they'll go crazy, and he'll say immediately, lower your expectations. Like, where he's and it's funny, but he's working on material. So I don't think a guy like that cares. But I'm sure some guys get worried about, oh no, that people are going to blog if I go up there and suck, or... You know, and then there's guys like him that just don't really.
Does that bother you at all?
No. I mean, I attack back, though. Like, I'm stupid. I'm eventually going to be shot because, like, I hate I hate mail. I go after them. I go right after them when they send me anonymous emails. And I really shouldn't. You know, I attack them back because I hate the fact that they are saying things under a fake name. I have just such a visceral hatred. But I've had a few guys say almost death threats under their real name, and I'm like, all right, that guy's a problem.
If someone's gonna stand behind their words as themselves,
that guy's a psychopath.
That guy's a psychopath.
Yeah. So a few of them I've kind of I've gone back and forth with, and I'm like, all right, it's not worth getting shot over.
Well, as you were were you always the sort of the point of view that you have on stage now? Were you always that guy, or did it sort of evolve in any way?
I mean, I don't think I'm that much different as a person. I'm just more confident in my own opinions. Not even being right or wrong, but just being honest about them. Like, you know, for a long time you want people to like you on stage. Like, you know, be likable. Like the business tells us. Be likable. Be likable. And it's revolting because you try to get like this. I did a character when I first started where I was like high energy and quirky. It's like I literally want to cut my own throat when I watch it. It's like, how you doing? And I was like, shirt off. And as time goes on, you realize that being funny and being honest is what you should do. Not even be right. Like comics get caught up in being right and being smarter than the audience. And it's like every comic, you're going to bat 500 like every other dumbbell out there. We're half the times I'm right and half the times I'm wrong. That's it. So as long as I realize that and I just tell the truth about the way I see something, you know, you can't lose anything like that.
Well, I think being likable or being relatable means like you're comfortable with who you are. And if you are yourself on stage, it's not whether or not you say popular things. It's just like, because, you know, like, again, going back to Louis, he says a lot of things that very few people could ever get, probably just him could get away with saying. You know, but because you get the character, or you get where he's coming from, and you believe that he's kind of authentic, or you go, all right, yeah, I like that guy, because, you know, it's not the words. I think it's really the how honest is it.
And you're right. And I wish the whole business saw it the way you did. It's being you know, funny and relatable, and that's what likable is. But the business looks at it, they're just such dummies that, you know, that you have to be like palatable to everybody. That's their definition of likable, is agreeable to everyone, whereas your definition of likable is what we all want. Just
well, it's
be funny and be yourself.
Impossible to be agreeable to everyone. It's just impossible, especially now when shows aren't just, you know, the couple hundred people in the room, but, you know, they can spill over online to millions of people, and it's like, people weren't even there are commenting on shit.
Yeah, out of context, and you know, it really is. It's a terrible era we live in as far as just sound bites and 2-second clips and 5-second clips, and we all know this. And yet we all still act like it's 1975 and they're covering a news story completely inaccurately.
Right.
It's like our ability to process this shit hasn't caught up with the fact that the information is being thrown out so fast. So we still act like it's legitimate and accurate news, even though we know it's a 24-hour news cycle and crap, and you're getting a piece of the story.
Yeah.
It's bizarre that we react that way.
Well, this is we're a headline culture now, and there's so much information for us to process at all times that we're only really getting, like, you know, I think it's the fallout of people having to take in all this information, but then quickly categorize it because they have to deal with it so they can move on. And they go, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that,
Yes.
that's dumb, I like that, I like that, I like that, I like that. Done. Did you read any of that stuff? No, I got it.
Yeah.
You go, but you didn't really get it because it's too much energy to deep dive and really form an opinion.
Yep, that's it.
So it's just, I think it's, you know, it's the curse and the and the blessing.
A lot of energy. You got to click.
Yeah.
You got to read.
Got to read more than 3 words.
It is fucked up.
Scroll down sometimes.
Oh, no.
No, that means you have to lift your hands and like drag the mouse.
But Siri, scroll down.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed about coming on O&A and talking to you about is when I sort of tripped over the fact that you're a chess fanatic, that I had no idea. And it's not just that you like chess, like you really, really, really know it and love it and follow it.
Yeah, I don't play as much as I used to. I used to love playing, but it's like I just haven't had the. I used to play at the Comedy Cellar every night, and I just haven't in a while. But I always liked chess players. Like I love, like you know, Magnus Carlsen and Villasenor. Like I love those guys because they're so much better at something than I'll ever be. There's something about somebody being that good at chess that just it fascinates me.
Right.
To see it in a way I'll never see it. You know what I mean? It's like,
but doesn't it work? Don't you go, boy, if I were that talented at something, but I knew I had to be a little off, would you want that ability? Like, would you want to be like Bobby Fischer, or would you? Or
he wasn't a little off.
yeah.
But would you want to be? Would you want to be?
That guy, for that level of genius, yeah. I mean,
You'll take it.
I'll take some racism.
Yeah. And Fischer wasn't. Well, Fischer was Jewish. Like that was he was 100% Jewish. His mother and his father. Like, I don't know why I have to explain what 100% is. You guys.
Wait, so you're saying
his mother and his father were Jewish?
You're saying his mother was Jewish, but his father was also Jewish.
Wait a minute. His mother was 110% Jewish. His dad was negative 10%.
He was 90% Jewish.
It's always good to say it and clarify exactly what you mean by 100% Jewish.
That's just what happens when you start to get older, is that you over-explain things.
No, I think it comes from radio, because you're like, you got to go, let me support this statement.
No. I've found that as I've gotten older, I was trying to make a bit out of it, and I could never make it work. But I will be in situations where someone will say, like, "Oh, you know, can I take her?" And I'll go, "Oh, I'll have this. I'll have the vegetarian pasta." I'm not vegetarian. It's my girlfriend's vegetarian. No, I'm trying. Like half the time I'm vegetarian. So and I give this whole backstory. And I'm like, they don't need any of this information, and I feel like I have to share it for some reason.
You can't be vegetarian half the time.
No, but I mean, like, I eat. Okay, don't make.
Well, I'm trying to be the waiter.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Then you should just walk away, like the other.
Sir, I don't think you can be vegetarian half the time.
What a shitty waiter.
But it is that sort of like, you know, you really need people to understand. I guess I don't know what it is.
My father used to do that, and it would drive me crazy. Like the over-explaining, like, you know, like he would say, "Yeah, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee." Like I'd like a good cup of coffee. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, all right, have it. But I do the same thing. I do the exact same thing. So yeah, for Bobby Fischer's level of genius, yeah, I would take it because he was nuts, but you know, he was just bitter about a lot of shit that happened. That was not attached to that. You know, he felt like all his stuff was taken, and he was, you know, screwed by not being allowed back in the U.S. because he played in Yugoslavia. And it's just silly.
But playing, go ahead.
No, I said it was silly the way he. I think he was afraid of losing, and that's why he kind of went out of public life. I think that after he beat Spassky, he was afraid of losing, and I think that's why he had all these crazy demands, and they gave him almost everything he wanted. But there's one thing they wouldn't give him, and then he's like, "I'm not playing." I forget who he was supposed to play.
Thank you, folks, for listening. Tune in next week for more podcasts of all podcasts.
Well, thanks for listening. This is NoFX Decline. It's very long. I'm on a group on. Enjoy.
Storybooks been read, and every line believed. worth a lot more in Detroit. Down in California, a $20 fine. Jerry only stayed a couple months. It's hard to enjoy yourself while bleeding out the ass. Asphyxiation is simple and fast. It's been 17 fun years of being someone's bitch. Don't think, drink your wine. Watch the fire burn. His problems, not mine. Just be that model citizen. I wish I had a shilling for every senseless killing. I'd buy a government. America's for sale, and you can get a good deal on it and make a healthy profit. Or maybe tear it apart. Start with assumption that a million people are smart, smarter than one. Sarah fled, the process gone. She left her answering machine on. The greeting left spoken sincere. Messages no one will ever hear. 10,000 messages a day, a million more transmissions play. Victims of the laissez-faire. 10,000 voices, 100 guns, 100 decibels turns to one bullet, one empty head. Now it's serotonin gone. The man who used to speak performs a cute routine. Feel a little patronized. Don't feel bad if I know inside your head and you feel a bit misled. It's not that they don't care, yeah. The television's put a thought inside your head, like a berry manilow. Jingle our lives, teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. A symphonic blank stare, yeah. It doesn't make you care. Not designed to make you care. They're betting you won't care. Going get tough and tough get dead. Don't pay attention, pay the rent. Next of kin, pay for your sins. A little faith should keep us safe. Lives are simple, simple is bliss. Why go against tradition when we